True. I think you have to understand this as well is that because Callie, the age difference between you and Brittany, there's a gap. And so you may be a little bit more optimistic, but people that have gone through hurt, through trauma, there's a fear element that's put into play there. And so they're like less likely to want to repeat something that failed. And so their guard is up. And if they've been single for a while and they've been making XYZ amount of dollars, then you're going to have to, there's have to be a level of trust there in order for them to put that guard down.
But if you're married, that trust should have already been established. All of that, because you're talking. That's what I was thinking. Is like if you're married, we already went through this. We dated, and I know where your mind's. I'm not gonna marry you if you just want to sit on the couch all day and just live off of whatever paychecks coming in from EBT. No, like you have to have some type of mentality, like because at the end of the day, if all else fails and something happens to me and we have kids, then it's gonna be up to you to take care of that. But by the time we're married, if we fall on tough times or something happens and I need to step up the plate, baby, I don't mind stepping up that plate. Or if we're getting married and we know what the goal is and the objective is and we're going to do it, we're going to freaking do it. Like my man is, I've been in relationships where a man had heck of money. That still didn't work. So it just depends on the person. It depends on who you're dating.
But Callie, what if she already did that in her first marriage and now she's learned from it, and
let me back up. Before we go down that rabbit hole, that wasn't the question. The question wasn't would I sacrifice for my husband in a marriage if he fell on hard times or whatever, would I shift my lifestyle? That wasn't the question. That's a totally different answer. Because yes, to your point, Callie, if I decide to marry someone now in this wise state of being, I would marry someone who I wouldn't mind, stepping up to the plate for and being a partner to. I think Lapeef's question was just, would I be willing to would I be willing to lower my lifestyle? It wasn't specified, like if I was married or not. I think it was just in general. In a marriage, for sure, I agree. If you marry someone, you're already in a partnership. You've already made that decision and decided that you're going to rock with that person, you know what I'm saying, through good and bad times.
What's considered, sorry, guys, I'm new too.
Married, again.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, I might have a delay. Do I have a delay?
Probably. I don't know. It sounded like you kind of like stopped talking. You said if I was married again.
Yeah, I think I have a delay, so I'll wrap it up. But long story short, yes, to your point, if that question was rephrased to, would you be willing to lower your lifestyle if your husband fell on hard times or something like that? Yeah, that's different.
Can I ask a question? Because I brought up a scenario, and we talked about this a while back on King Talk. I brought up a scenario, and I actually ran this by a bunch of women on Clubhouse too. So, man is married to woman. They have a child. They have a 5-bedroom house, right? Man owns a business, whatever. They've been doing well, parsed through these years. The business does rough the next 2 years. And the guy told the wife, we need to downsize our house. We need to downsize our house from a 5-bedroom to a 3-bedroom. You know what I'm saying? For us to, take the money out of the equity of this home and downsize so we could weather the storm, because right now business is not well. The economic situation isn't good. I asked that question to a lot of women, and a lot of women said they're not downsizing their house. And it kind of made me wonder. You are there like downgrading your lifestyle. You went from 5-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom. Much smaller property, much smaller lot, but it's something that is manageable and still doable, right? You are there for sacrificing, and you are there for downsizing or downgrading, but you're still maintaining a sustainable life. the economic situation is no longer where it was anymore. We've downsized, right? And sort of when I had asked that question, this was like almost 2 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. A lot of people gave me pushback, and I'm curious to understand what is your perspective on that take. All the ladies.
I think most people overspend anyways. You know what I mean? You spend a whole year living in a studio apartment, like you said earlier, right? Just getting food and doing what you need to do for a whole year. Watch how much money you have next year. I think that, if especially if you have a greater goal in mind, you want to make something more in mind, you want to have a little bit more money in mind. Me, I have big goals, I have big dreams. So it requires me to live a certain way so I can accomplish that and have more money to invest in what I need to do. And I think that when you have a mindset like that, you will go farther along. And like Amira said, she said something in Arabic, which I can't repeat because I don't speak Arabic, but it comes with just understanding that life isn't all about a 6-bedroom house and 5-car garage and 10 Teslas. It's about what is it you're trying to do in your life and how are you going to get there and what is it going to take for you to get there? Because at the end of the day, there are people that win the lottery and make $1 million, and then by the end of the year, that million's gone and they're back on the street. So it's really about just understanding the value of the dollar, how to utilize the value of the dollar, and that what you make today, you have 2 choices. You can double it tomorrow, or you can let it go. It'll lose because the value of the dollar goes down every day. So that's how I feel.
All right, any other ladies want to answer Luis's question?
Yeah. So I got a question, and I'll answer that as well. My whole thing is, right, hear me, or is it like breaking up?
Keep talking for a second. It was breaking up, but I think it might be settling.
Could y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so my whole thing is, Louis, this is kind of like, as a man, right? It's just like, why would you move into a 5-bedroom house in the first place? And then, like, and not kind of plan ahead just in case. I don't know. So it's just kind of like, to put your family or your wife in that type of position from the first, like from jump, is just kind of crazy to me. Like, no, let me say something true, because you always got something to say when it's I just feel like as a man, you just need to make a better from the jump, make a better decision instead of doing that. And then it's just kind of like, you guys, especially if you're an entrepreneur, I don't feel like you should kind of jump into something like that when you're an entrepreneur, because your finances kind of like go up and down. So it's not something that's set in stone with that. So it's just kind of like, get a 2 or 3 bedroom house from the jump. And then if you feel like you are making enough money where you're stable and it's kind of like been the same way for a couple of years, then maybe upgrade. But I don't know why people upgrade and then downgrade later on and then expect their wives to be okay with downgrading when you kind of make her, put her in a place where she becomes used to that type of lifestyle. That's not going to be easy for anybody. I don't know. I'm just being realistic. Like even you as a man, right? And you're speaking like, oh yeah, we're just gonna downgrade to that's not just an easy decision for you to make. I don't think people are just being honest about their answers and really understanding how that feels in the type of mental state that you can put your family in, not just your wife, but your children, all of those things. So my whole thing is just kind of like, from the rip, why wouldn't you think as a man just to be like, you know what? Let me make a wiser decision to maybe get something smaller and then work our way up just in case, to be on the safe side.